Hello Steelers, and welcome to this game of O Group. This is one set in Stalingrad. I've actually had this table set up for about a week now because I was going to play this game with Dean and Mark tomorrow and the day after I'm recording this, but they cried off. Well, Dean has cried off anyway because it's going to get roasting up here because we're in the middle of a heat wave in the summer. But I thought I'd use a table and I would play a game myself anyway and just record it as a video for you guys. We were going to record it with Dean tomorrow, but obviously that's fallen through. I did play a game with Mark last week. It was an introductory game for him, and we found that fighting in Stalingrad is pretty difficult because it's quite a grind to get through the buildings. But I'm going to give it a go and I'm going to see how it goes. So this is a German attack on the Russians. There's no particular what am I saying, objective for the Germans. It's really just to grind out the Russians and cause 3 fouxbars on them, obviously while avoiding 3 fouxbars themselves. So I've got the table set up already, as you can possibly see here. What I'll do is I'll show you in a little bit more detail. I'll get the table set, well, I'll show you the forces, then I'll show you the table where we've set up, and I can talk about that, and we'll move on from there. So not much more for me to do to blather on here, so I'll get the party started, I guess. So here we have the Germans. We have our 3 companies, 1, 2 and 3 over here. I've also given them a platoon of engineers as well as attachments, so they can come in somewhere. They've also got a 75mm infantry gun as well with its tow weapon, and we've also got a collection of Panzer IIIs and Panzer IVs. Let's just check which they are. I can't remember what they all are. So I've got the Panzer IIIJ with a 50mm gun on it. We've got this is a Panzer IV-G. We've also got a Panzer IV-F. This one is the Panzer III-K, so that's the command vehicle, and then finally we have a Panzer III-J as well. And what I've done is, I don't know if you saw on my community tab, but I did make some Magic the Gathering style. Oh yeah, I've also got a Stug B as well, 3B, and also the SIG 33B as well, Stug 33B. And I made up some Magic the Gathering style cards with the information on these. If you have a look through the community tab on the channel, it might be a little while ago now, but you'll probably see the link as well where I made those. I just made them on an online software material thing. So these were originally based for rapid fire. This is the rapid fire scenario for attacking the Red October factory. As you can see, I've got patrol markers, but these are not urban ones, these are rural ones. So these are my normal German ones. What I should do is probably do some urban ones at some point. And I've just got these individual figures down here. These are just to mark units that have activated in the turn, so I know. Oh yeah, also there's the foo as well. So that's the German force, quite a heavy force, quite army heavy. I think this is probably going to be rolling 10 dice, given the amount of units that are in there. So we'll have a look now at the Soviets. So here we have the Soviets. I can barely get them all on the screen, can I? So again, we've got our 3 companies, each with their patrol markers as well. Each of these have got a medium machine gun attached with also a anti-tank rifle as well. So I've given that to each of those 3. Over here we have a 76mm AT gun, a SIS-3. We've also got our forward observer there. We also have remains of a submachine gun platoon, only 2 sections in it, so it's quite small, but it is there, it's engineers. We've also got a 45mm anti-tank gun over here, T-34, and also a T-70, and also here, I don't know if you can see these, we've got 2 dug-in T-34s as well. So quite a good defending force. Again, these will probably be rolling 10 dice rather than the normal 9 dice, because again it's a big units. But let me get set up. I'll do the initial setting up of everything, and I'll show you where we are with that. Alright, just to show you, I've done the deployment roll. And we've got, for the Germans in red here, they've got 3 ones, which for them is opening barrage casualties on the defender, and they've rolled 3 ones So that means they have the defender removes an infantry platoon and also a section of any type and a HQ order as well. So that automatically puts them, the Soviets, down to 1 on their HQ, so that's pretty good for the Germans. Then we also have 2 to 4s, so we've got 1, 2, 3 of those, and that is deploy a combat patrol behind the start line, so 3 of those, and then 4 deploy 1 on-table unit behind the start line, so they've got 4 of those. So I'm going to get these set up in a second. Soviets, on the other hand, they've got first one is a 1, no deployments, that's the opening barrage, so they've got 1 opening barrage on them for the first turn, and then their 2s to 4s are combat patrols, and they've got 1, 2, 3 of those, and then they also have ambush units behind the front line, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ambush units behind that their front line point. So what I'll do is I'll get all that stuff set up, I'll show you how it's gone, and we'll work on from there. Right, so here's the table from the German point of view. Just to look across it first of all, you can see there's a lot of buildings, going to be lots of built up areas to work their way through. The Soviet forward defence line is basically that rail track. I put that in just as a marker, so that's where they've got. The German start line is basically this line of buildings here, so that's about 12 inches forward. The Germans have put out a patrol marker over here in red company's area. They've got another patrol marker here in this building here, and their HQ is over here. They're also supporting with 2 Panzer 3s, so they're their on-table units. They're also bringing in their Stug and their Sig as well over here for supporting units as well, because I'm going to try to make quite a heavy armoured thrust into this corner here to try to do as much damage as the Soviets as possible. Meanwhile, over here we've got our other company headquarters, White Company. He's just here in these ruined buildings with the Foo over here. Now facing them, the Soviets. What I've done is, because I'm playing solo, I've decided to forego the Soviets having ambush points. However, they're going to have units on the table, but they're not going to be able to be fired at. So these, until they fire. So this is like the way I'm doing the ambush, just rather than me remembering where they're going to be. So they can't be fired at until they fire. And one of those is this T-34 dug in here, over here. They've also got a combat patrol there. In this building here, they also have 2 ambush units at the front, which are 2 unit platoons. They've got their headquarters as well for those, the company headquarters. And they've also got their Foo in there as well. His transport is just by the side of the building, so they've got quite a large area to cover. Oh, so just to mention, that's also got the MMG in there and a anti-tank rifle as well in there. Remember, they did lose that platoon and a HQ order as well. Meanwhile, over here on White Company's area, again another ambush unit is these ones over here. They've got a combat patrol forward here. They can be fired at. The ambush units can't until they fire, as I said. We've got our HQ here, company HQ. Further over on this side in this building, we've got another combat patrol, and we also have another dug-in T-34 in the street there, and then finally another ambush unit on in those ruins there as well. So they're quite well dug in straight away. And as I say, I'm just kind of changing the rules slightly just because I'm playing solo, and I would know where the ambushes are, so there's no point in me placing them on the table. What I'm going to do is to speed things up, and also just to kind of speed this video up a little bit as well. I'm going to cut out the I'm going to roll the command dice, but I'm just going to cut it out of the video. So what I'll do is I'll show you what's happened, and then I'll show you some of the action and things as that unfolds. But I'm going to just kind of cut out some of the dice rolling for the commands. However, if you want to see that kind of thing, I have got plenty of other O Group videos with that in it, so go and check those out as well if you really want to see how the mechanics of the game work. This one's going to be a little more of a narrative game, a narrative video on your part really, so this is going to be more about the action rather than me organising orders and things like that. I hope you enjoyed that. If you do, let me know in the comments, and if you don't, let me know in the comments which would you rather see. We'll see how it goes anyway, and I shall crack on with this game. Okay, we've done a bit of moving. The Germans are pushed forward. They lost the initiative, but the Soviets let them have it because they were still in ambush for some of their units. So the Germans have pushed forward. They used up a lot of their orders. They only had 5, and they used up a couple of their HQ orders as well. The Soviets lay in ambush, but have now sprung that ambush, and they have deployed. So we've pushed forward with the Germans into a couple of these places here. However, the Soviets, oh yes, both of them got a hesitant company, and that was on the right hand side, the Germans' right hand side of the table, so nothing has happened over there. So what we've done instead is the Soviets have deployed a 45mm gun in one of the buildings at the back on their combat patrol. They've also deployed a couple of units here and here as well. So we're going to be firing with these at the Germans, but first of all, with the T-34 is springing its trap on these advancing Panzer IIIs. You can see here, and on our markers here, we've got the gun for the sorry, on our cards here we've got the tank. The T-34 has got an AP of 7 against an armour of 6 for the Panzer III. So we're going to have a shot at this first one. So let's just work our way through it. It's in range, obviously. It's not close target. It's over 10 inches away. The fire hasn't moved, there's no shock or damage, the target isn't dug in, and there's no failed opportunity fire attempt. So basically it's just a straight roll of 7 up for the T-34 to hit. See, we've got a 5, so that's a miss. This gives the Germans, I'm only going to give this one here a chance to fire back, so he's going to use up a HQ points to do that. He's going to fire back. He's moved though, so this is going to be an 8. He's also dug in, so it's actually going to be a 9 up. Let's see, do we get it? 6. No effects from either of those for firing. Okay, so we've now got 1, 2, 3 Soviet platoons are firing at this single German platoon here, or at least that's what they're going to try to do. They're all firing pretty much the same. The first one has got an attached MMG, so they can get re-rolls, but the other 2 don't. So I'll start with the ones that don't, actually, because that's a bit more interesting. So first one, firing at buildings, -2. They haven't moved. They do have a spotting dice. So the first one is spotted and also landed 2 hits on those Germans. So the Germans are then saving on 4s up because they've been spotted. So that's 1 fail. So that is 1 hit. So that's 1 suppression straight away on those. I'll just put that there to remind me. Then we've got the next one over here. These again are just firing. So this time they've spotted them, but they haven't hit a single one. So 3s and 2s. And then finally, the ones with the MMGs, they'll get a re-roll of up to 3 of their dice. So they haven't spotted, they've hit 1, and there's 3 re-rolls. Let's see what happens. I need 4s up on this. So that's another hit. So that's 2 more hits, but it's not spotted, so the Germans are saving on 4 up. So look, we've got a 5 and a 5. So they've saved both of those. So they've caused one shock on those Germans. Are the Germans going to fire back? No, because that would eat up their HQ orders. So they're going to end the turn there, I think. We can't do any regrouping because everybody has done something that can't do anything. So I'll just go on to the next turn and work out the next orders. So the Soviets have taken the initiative this time round, and they're firing again with that T-34 against the Panzer III there as it's coming in. So again we need a 7 up. So look, 6. No, it has missed. Is a Panzer III going to fire back? Yes, it's going to use one of its orders to fire back. So it's hitting the same again on a 9 up. Remember from before? That's a hit, and it's 10 plus, so that's actually an extra hit as well. However, it is an armour 7 with a 5 gun, so that is a +2 on the save factor for the T-34. However, it does have that -1, so it's only a +1 on its save. So let's just have a look, see what happens to it. So with a -1 of 5 is the Soviet T-34 is damaged. However, we've now got those Soviets are firing, so 1, 2 and 3 once again at the Germans here in this building who have already got shock. So let's just see. First one, just normal shots. They have spotted them and they've hit with 1. So the Germans are saving on a 3 up. No, 4 up, sorry. So that's a save, that's a 5. Our next one over here, these are firing as well, so this time they've spotted them and landed 3 hits on the Germans, so they are saving on a 4 up. So that is 2, so that's actually suppressed them. That's pretty good going. if it had been these ones over here, they could have now charged in and done a close assault and probably taken them out, but unfortunately for them, they didn't. But they do have this MMG, so any hits here are going to be KIAs anyway, so let's just see what happens. They haven't spotted, they've hit one, but they do get 3 re-rolls. So let's have a look. Oh, just one hit. So 1 hit on them, not spotted, 4 save. 5 they have saved, but they are suppressed. Right, we've got the Germans. They've moved forward their panzers. I've just put down some orders because these are going to fire, these are going to fire, and these are going to fire over here. So they're all going to fire at this Soviets in this building here, but I'll do that in a second. First of all, we are firing with the Panzer IVs at the T-34 itself. So they've moved, it's dug in, so that becomes a -2 on their hit, so that's a 9 up. Was there anything else? I don't think, I can't remember. No, so it's, yeah, it's just -2. So 9's up. So the first one, that's an 8, so that's a miss. And then the second one, that's a 12, that's a hit. So that's a +1 on their damage. So we roll for the damage, but it's got a 2. It's got a 2 difference between the gun and the armour, if you remember. However, there is that +1, so basically it's a -1 on the Soviet save roll. So let's have a look. That is, ooh, that's a 10, so that's nothing, so that just bounces off. Right, so the Soviet survives, and T-34 survives, but he is damaged. He is going to fire. He's going to use up their final order for the Soviets, and he's firing at one of the Panzer IVs, so he's hitting on he's just hitting on a 7 up actually, 4, so he's missed anyway, but at least it's worth a try. Okay, so we got now the Germans firing. What actually happened over here was these ones in the centre, they tried to do a morale check, they reduced their morale by 1, so they were unsuppressed, they came down to 2. Then they used a company commander order to get them down to do it again, and then they got rid of all their suppression. So they're not firing, but these ones over here are, and these ones over here are. Both of them firing at this central unit here. These ones have got an MMG attached, these ones don't. So we'll start with the ones that don't. Firing at buildings is -2 on the dice and the spotting dice. They haven't hit anyway, but they have spotted them. So they've seen them, but they're just not hit. And then we've got this one with the MMG firing. It can re-roll 3 dice. Hasn't spotted, has hit 1, 2, and then it can get those 2 re-rolls. Let's have a look. That's 2 more hits. So that's 4 hits on the Soviets in there. They're not spotted, so they're saving on a 3 up. Let's just have a look at that then. And they've saved every single one of those. The next thing that's happening is the Stug and the SIG are going to both fire at that T-70. I'm not going to allow them to fire at the T-34 behind it, but they can fire at the T-70. This has got the SIG has got an AT of 8. The Stug has got an AT of, let me just check, that is 6 against the armour of the T-70, which is 4. So if they do hit it, there's most likely a chance of actually destroying it. However, they've got to hit it first, but they have moved, so normally it's a 7, becomes an 8, so I'm just going to give them that. They are in the open, so I'm going to allow them to shoot at it on an 8 up. So we'll fire with the Stug first. That has hit, so that's hit with an AT power of 6 against the T-70. So that's a -2 on the T-70, so let's just see what happens to it. That is 10. 12, that's 10 minus that is 8. That is 1 shock on the T-70, so it's not done a huge amount, or at least it shocked it, so I'll just stick that on there. And then we've got the SIG, and that is also hitting on an 8 up as well, so let's check that. What have we got? 7, just missed it, but at least they're starting to put fire down on it. Right, next turn, the Soviets have taken the initiative again. They won it this time, so we're going to fire first of all with our T-34 dug in here at one of these Panzer IVJs. Then they're going to try to do a few other bits of firing, but we're going to start off first of all with these. So he's hitting on an 8, that's an 11, that's a hit. So he's hitting with a power of, I think it was 5, let me just check 100%. I can't remember. The Ausfeld J has got an armour of 6. The T-34 has got an AT of 7. So yeah, so it's a -1 strike on the Panzer 3, sorry. 12 -1 is 11, so no effect. It just bounces off. Because of that, the Germans are then going to return fire against him. So they are hitting on. They haven't moved in this turn because it's the Soviets' turn, so they are getting a -1 because he's dug in, so we're hitting on an 8 up. So first one is 7, so that's a miss. Second one is a 4, so that's a miss as well. And then the T-70 has shook off his 1 shock, but because he did that, he can then either move or fire. So he's moved with the T-34 to this position here. The T-34 didn't need to take any shock off, so he is now firing at those Germans there. So he's hitting on, it's an 8 up because he's moved. So let's have a look, and they are in the open, so we don't need to spot them. So that's an 8, that is a hit. So we're hitting on this one. Same again, -1 on that strike on the Panzer III. So let's have a look. That's a 5 becomes a 4. That is a knockout. Bang! So the first one has gone. So that is also 1 section for the Germans as well, fortunately for them. Okay, so now we've got Soviet firing, and yet again these 3 sections are all going to, we'll see 3 platoons are all going to be firing at this German platoon in this building here. They're ignoring everything else at the moment. Maybe it's a good thing, maybe it's a bad thing. But let's just start with these ones over here, see what they do. We've spotted them and they've hit with 2, so they don't have a machine gun there, so the Germans are saving on a 4 up. Let's have a look what that is. 2 double 1. No, that's 2 suppressions straight. Sorry, 2 shocks straight away. So then the next one, I'm going to fire with the MMG next, because depending on what happens with these ones may go into close combat with them. Let's just have a look, and they've spotted. They've hit 1. They get 3 re-rolls because of that MMG. So let's see how many of those they managed to do. Not a single one, 3 ones. They've caused 1 hit on the Germans and they are spotted. Germans are saving on a 4 up. 6, they have saved it. Okay, so I was thinking about maybe going in with the assault on these if they've been suppressed. But this time, I'm not going to this time because they're just going to fire, I think. Or should I actually get that 45mm gun to fire as well at the Germans? Let me just check what the HE is of the 45mm that's in that corner. HE is 3. Firing at buildings is only going to be a 1, but let's give it a go. Firing with a spotting dice as well. And that is a 5 and a 5, so they spotted and they've hit. So I'll just put an order down for those in a second. The Germans are then saving on a 4 up. No, they haven't saved it, so they are now suppressed. So what we're going to do now is with that, I'm going to get these to charge into close combat up against that BUA. So let's just see if they actually make it. See how far away it is first. They are 5 inches away. So they basically need anything over a 4 because you need to be within 1 inch of the enemy to be able to fight them. So let's have a look. 7 inch, they've made it. So they are going to pile in. And this time the Germans are now suppressed. So let's just get set up again for the attack. Right, first of all they are going to fire before they go in. So they're only rolling 3 because they're attacking into buildings and they are moving. So let's see what we got. They haven't spotted, but they have landed 1 hit. The Germans therefore are saving on a 3 up. No, they haven't, so that's a KIA roll for the Germans. So 5 or a 6 and it's a KIA, so let's have a look. Yes, that's a KIA for the Germans. That's their second section gone. So we now have the attack itself. The Soviets are getting 2 per section, so that starts with 6. However, they are attacking into buildings, so -1. The Germans are suppressed, and there's only 2 sections in there now, so they're only rolling 2. All hits are kills, so there's no getting out to it. You basically don't save. So let's roll them together. 4 ups are kills. Oh, that's not very good. It's not good for either, actually. That's 1 hit on each. So it's 1 shock on the Soviets, first of all. However, the Germans have taken another shock, so that's another KIA roll for them. So let's just see, 5 or a 6, it's a kill. No, it isn't. So they've survived that. So that's a draw. So the defenders always win a draw. So there's an immediate retreat for the Soviets. Let's see how far they fall back. That's 8 inches. So I'll just get those set up and out of the way. Ooh, that was a bit poor, but at least they've killed another section of the Germans. However, we're back again. I've used a company order for the Soviets, rolled a 6, so they didn't have to spend an extra order, but he's basically got them to charge back in again. So this time they are going to fire once again before they move. So that's going to be 3 dice with a spotting dice. Let's just have a look. That is a spot and also 3 hits. So the Germans are saving there on 4s up this time. Let's have a look. Oh, they've lost all of those. So that's 1 full KIA, so that takes off 1 of their bases, and then also a KIA roll as well. So let's just roll for that, 5 or a 6, and it takes off that last base. Yes, it's killed the last base. So even before they went in, they've destroyed the Germans there. So that's actually a foobar now, because the Germans have lost 4 of their sections, including that tank. So that's, I'll put that over there by the units, and the Soviets are then piled in basically. Don't really know what happens if you do the fire first and you've declared a close assault. So I'm going to say that they fire and then they get in and realise there's a ton of Germans in there. This also means that those Soviets now will get a roll on their morale. So let's have a look. 4 up, they pass. Yes, they passed it, so they can get rid of that suppression as well. So that's good. No, because that was firing. It wasn't actually close assault, was it? So we are where we are. But now the Germans are using opportunity fire from these here, and they're just going to pile fire into those. Both of them are rolling 5d6 because, well, these ones are close, so they're rolling 5d6 and the spotting dice. Let's have a look. Not spotted them, so they have put 3 hits on those Soviets. Soviets are therefore saving on a 4 up. They failed 1, so that is a shock back on them. And then we've got the other platoon of Germans, and they're firing with a 4d6 plus a spotting dice as well. Let's see what happens with them. They've spotted them, and they've got 1, 2, 3 hits on them. They also have a medium machine gun, which they will reuse to re-roll 4 hits. However, the Soviets are saving there on a 4 up. Because they've 4 up because they've been spotted. So 1, 2, so that's another 2 hits. So that's actually suppressed then. So they've got into that building, but they are suppressed now. Okay, it's gone to the Germans. So now they are going to attack the Soviets in turn, because the Soviets are suppressed because of that firing they did. So first of all, we're actually going to fire with the ones with the MMG first. They're going to fire across at the Soviets here, so I'm sticking an order down for them. So they've got an MMG firing at buildings. They're not at close range, so they're hitting with 4d6 and a spotting dice. Let's have a look. They're not spotted, but they have landed 3 hits and re-roll 4 hits in total. Soviets saving on a 3 up, so let's just roll these ones. They have failed 2 but saved 2, so that's automatically 1 section off. Ooh, this is not looking good so far. Then we've got the Germans attacking in from here. First they're going to do their first fire, so they're starting with 6. They are at close range of +1, but -2 because they're firing into buildings, so a -1 and a green dice. Let's have a look. So they've spotted and they have hit 2. They don't get a reroll because they've got no MMGs. So the Soviets are defending on 2 hits. And they are suppressed, so they're saving on a 4 up. They've saved 1, failed 1, so that's a KIA roll. Let's have a look. 5 or 6, no, so they've survived it. Now the Germans are attacking into there, so we've got 4, 5, 6 to start with. However, they are attacking into buildings, so -1. They're holding no shock, so they're fine. The Soviets have only got 2 dice in there, so both of them are now looking for 4s up. Let's just go for that. So 2 kills from the Soviets, only 1 from the Germans, 1 hit. No saves on that. So the Germans take 1 shock, the Soviets take another. The Germans take 2 shock, the Soviets take 1 KIA roll. So let's just see if that does anything. 5 or 6 it does. No, it doesn't. So the Germans, the Soviets have won that. The Germans are pushed back. The Soviets then get a roll to see if they pass their morale. Yes, so they can bring it down to 2, but they are still hesitant, unfortunately for them. But God, the cut and thrust of street fighting, it's pretty nasty, isn't it? the final thing that the Germans are doing is they have deployed or consolidated in this building here. They're putting down a company commander for their reserves and also 2 patrol markers. That's cost them 2 orders, 1 order from there and also a HQ order. So that's going to end the turn. The Soviets can't do anything to turn against that, and there are no morale rolls for the regroup phase, so we'll just go on to the next turn. So the Germans have moved forward both of their combat patrols here. The Soviets have tried to get opportunity fire as they move. They've failed, but they are going to fire once they've been fired at. The Germans have got behind the trucks, the railway, and they're going to fire up at those there. So they're firing into buildings, actually at close range, with an MMG attached. So they have spotted, and then they also get 3 re-rolls as well on top of that. Let's have a look. None, so just 1 hit. But the Soviets are therefore saving on a 4-up. 6 they've saved, so they now get to fire back. They are firing with 6 dice. The Germans are obscured because they're behind those trains. No, I'm not going to give them any minuses, but they get a +1 because they are close range. So let's see what happens to them. They haven't spotted them, but they have landed 1, 2, 3 hits on there. Do they have a machine gun in there? No, they don't. They're the ones with the AT rifle. So they've landed, we said 3 hits on those Germans here, so let's just see what happens. That is, they've saved 2, but 1 hit as well. And then meanwhile over here, the Germans are pretty much running out of orders. They have brought up some more tanks, but they are firing with the MMG into these Soviets here who are on 2 shock. So let's see, but they are in buildings, so let's just see what happens there. 3 they haven't spotted, but they've landed 3 hits, and then another re-roll, so that's 4 hits. The Soviets are saving on a 4 or above. Let's see, 3 or above because they haven't been spotted, sorry. So they've saved all of them apart from 1, so that has suppressed them. Now the Germans over here, they have reduced that shock, and they've also, that's all they've done, they've rallied there. So what I might do here is actually use another company commander order to get these to then assault those Soviets in there. They're weakened again, so let's just see. So first of all, we roll to see how many it's going to cost extra. Roll the dice, a 4. I think for a second rate battalion that's going to cost them 2 in total. Yes, it's a +1 order, so it's going to cost them 1 to attack, and then also another. They're going to have to take that from their HQs, so we're going to go in with that. Before they go in, they will fire, but they are shocked, so let's just work this out. So we're starting with 6 dice because they've got 3 sections in there. They are at close range, so that's a +1. They're firing into buildings, so that's a -1. They are also holding shocks, and that's another -1 as well. And also they get to spot as well. So let's just give those a roll and see what happens. I need this to work, I think. So look, we've got they've spotted and they've hit 1. So the Soviets are going to be saving on a 3 or above. They have done, they've saved it. Now we go into the assault. Right, so once again, let's start. Soviets, what do we say? Are they suppressed at this point? Yes, they are suppressed. So the Germans are starting with 6 because they get 2 dice per guy. However, they are attacking into buildings, so that's a -1, and they've also got 1 shock, so -2. So they're rolling 4 dice. Soviets, on the other hand, are suppressed. So they're just rolling 2 dice. So same again, all hits, 4s upper hits, everything counts. This time the Germans have landed 3, the Soviets have landed 0. So that's 3 hits, so that's 1 full KIA plus a KIA roll. 5 or so, they've been wiped out, completely wiped out. So that's not yet a foobar for the Soviets, 1 more and it will be. But the Germans can then move into that position. So that was worthwhile doing with that commander. They also now get a rally roll as well because they've taken the position. So let's just roll that. 4, 5 or 6 and they can get rid of that. 1 shock. No, they can't, but 1 shock is okay by them. They didn't take any hits from the Soviets. Right, we've got Soviets in the building over there. They are both firing down at those Germans down by the rail cars. They are obscured, so I'm going to give them a spotting dice. They are also close range, but the Germans aren't in buildings. So first one over here without a machine gun. Let's have a look, see what he gets. They've not spotted them, but they've got 1, 2, 3, 4 hits on them. So the Germans are therefore saving on 3 ups. They've saved 3 of them, failed 1, so that is 1 shock straight away on those. And then we've got the other Soviets, and they're firing with an MMG, so they'll get a re-roll of up to 3. They're not in close range though, they're just a bit far away, so I'm going to not give them that bonus. Let's see, they're not spotted, they've hit 1, so the re-rolls, they've hit 3 in total, so the Germans again, let's have a look, they are saving on a 3 up, so failed another one, so they are hesitant now. Okay, the action has moved once again over to here, so now we're going to get these Soviets to fire at the Germans here first of all, so let's just see what happens with that. They have got 6 men firing into buildings, they're not at close range, so that's 4 dice, they're not moving, and they need a spotting dice. They haven't spotted, they have got an MMG, so they can re-roll, so that's 3, 5, 4 hits, should I say, 4 hits on those Germans. Let's see if they survive this. They're not spotted, so they're saving on 3 or above, and they've saved all of them, so we can ignore that. Right, then we move on to the tanks firing. So we've got the T-70, the T-34 are firing at this the Panzer III, and then we've also got the damaged T-34 firing at the Panzer III. Well, these I'm going to do them one at a time. And if they don't, then they'll probably fire at these Germans here instead. So let's start with the damaged one. He hasn't moved. He's firing at normal range, so we're hitting on a 7, but he is damaged, so that becomes an 8 up. Let's see, he's not obscured. He has hit, and that is also a +1 on his strike as well, so that's a strike I think of 7, if I remember correctly. I should remember this, shouldn't I, at this point. The AP is 7, so that actually becomes an 8 against that Panzer IIIJ, which has an armour of 6, so that's a -2 on the German save roll. So let me just get my sheets in so I can see what it is. It's a hit on a save roll. They have been spotted. -2 on that save roll. So that's 5, 7, 8. That is a 6, so that German tank is damaged as well. So they're going to take one more hit and then that is destroyed as well. Right, so we've got our next one is going to be the T-70. This one is now firing with an AT of 4 against that armour of 6. So that's going to be a +2 for the Germans. So this is a bit more difficult for the T-70, but let's have a look. It needs a 7 up. Missed anyway. And the other T-34, 7 up. That's an 8, that's a hit. So -2 again on that German's defence. If he gets damaged, it's out anyway. That's a 10 on his effect, no effect. So that has bounced off. Oh god, I don't know how he survived that. Okay, so next turn, the Soviets are taking the initiative again. They are now firing with these up here with the MMG at the Germans down by the rail cars. They are obscured, and then they're going to try to assault with them here, or they might fire, depends on what happens with this. So let's have a look. They've got 1 hit, sorry, they're spotted, so they've got 1, 2, 3 hits. They get to re-roll 3 of those. So let's see what happens there. That's another 2 hits, so that's 5 hits in total on those Germans. They've already got 2 shocks, so they are hesitant anyway. They are saving, they've been spotted, they're saving on a 4, 5 or a 6. So that's 1, 2, 3 hits, so that's going to be 1 suppressed and an automatic KIA. So let's see if that MMG is also lost. A 1 or a 2 it is. No, it isn't. So with that in mind, they are now suppressed. We're going to fire with these over here, and then they're going to rush in as well. So they are firing. They don't get a re-roll this time, but they are firing at close range. So let's just see what we've got. They've spotted them. They've got 1, 2, 3 hits this time on those Germans. So we'll see how much hits they take, how many hits. They've failed 1, they've saved 2, so that's another KIA roll, 5 or a 6. Yes, that's another section off. And then, is that MMG destroyed as well? Yes, it is, 1 or a 2, so that's gone as well. So there's 1 section left there and it's suppressed. Now they're going to charge in. I don't think the attachments that are to do with foo bars, so it doesn't count as a foobar for the Germans on that one. But anyway, we're going to charge in now with the Soviets here. See how far they get. 3 inches. I think that is going to be enough, to be honest, from that BUA. Yes, they're going to be enough. So they're in and on. They have broken cover, but let's get them in. Just pile these in here. This is going to be a nasty business. So we've got they're not attacking buildings. They're in the open, so that's just 6 dice for the Soviets, 1 dice for the Germans. Again, 4, 5, 6 are the hits. Let's have a look. No hits from the Germans. Then we've got 1, 2, 3 hits on the Germans. So that has absolutely wiped them out. So there's not even a single hit on those Soviets, fortunately for those Germans. So they've just lost another 3 sections. So 1 more section is their second foobar. Okay, over here where the action is, what we've done is the Soviets have brought on 2 reserves. They've done a rapid move. This is basically where the fight is going to win or lose. So they've brought in, they're sensing victory in this corner, so they're just trying to push forward as many units as they can. They're then also firing with their T-70, T-34, the Dugin T-34, and also this unit as well, which is just out on the periphery. If they can smash, they only need to destroy 5 more German sections and the game is over. So let's just see what happens. We've got the Dugin T-34 hitting on an 8 or above on that damaged Panzer III. That is an 8, so that is a hit. So that's going to be a -1, I think, yeah, -1 for the Germans to save. Let's have a look on that. That's a 9. That's 9, that's fine. It's bounced off, God. It's taken a lot of hits, that thing. Then we've also got the T-70, that's going to try, that is hitting again on a 7-up. That is a hit. This time though it's a +2 for the Germans because of the damage. 10, 12, fine, no effect. Then finally the T-34 over here, 7-up again, so that's a 10, that is hit. -1 for that German. Let's see, 4, that is finally destroyed it, so that's taken it out at last. So there you go, that's the second German foobar. I'll put a destroyed marker on that in a second. So that's another foobar for them. And then we've got these guys firing at the Germans over here. And they're firing into buildings, but they're not moving, but they need a spotting dice. So let's see, they've spotted and they've hit with 1. They've got a machine gun in there, so that can re-roll 3. That's 3 hits in total. So the Germans there are saving on 4s. Let's just see, they have saved 2 of them, but they have taken 1 shock. Okay, so Germans' turn. So these ones are starting, they're firing over here, and they're just going to fire. What we've done is we've actually put down another combat patrol here to get some more units out, but these ones are firing at the Soviets over there. They're in the open, I'm not going with anything else. So they've hit on 1, 2, 4 hits. So it's 4 hits on the Soviets. They are in the open, saving on 4s. So look, they've failed 2, so that has made them hesitant. So they can't return fire unless they were within 6 inches. Meanwhile, the Stug and the Sig have moved forward and they are going to attack those infantry who are in the open here. They're both going to fire at the same platoon, so it's these ones here. So 4 for the Stug, first of all, hitting on 4s up. So have a look, that is 2 hits, and they are saving on 4s up because they're in the open, so that's 2 hits, so that's done some damage to them straight away. And then the Sig has got 6, it's got 7 HE, but it actually comes down to 6 because they've moved. So let's have a look. That is, that's a lot of hits. 1, 2, 3, 5 hits on those Soviets, and they are in the open, so they are saving on 4s up. That is 1, 2, 3 shocks. They've already, so that's suppressed them, and a KIA as well. So that has given the Soviets their first. That's their first foobar. The Soviets. So let's just see if that MMG has also been taken out, or 1 or 2, and it has. Yes, it has. So they've lost the MMG as well, but that doesn't count towards foobars. That's just a hit. But then let's give them a foobar marker so we remember. Oh dear, not good. Okay, over here, these Germans, they went for the rally. They managed to rally off their 1 shock. These Germans went for the rally and they didn't rally off their 1 shock, so they're going to fire. These are also going to fire, so they're going to be firing at a 1 dice less. These ones over here are just firing with their 4 dice anyway, for the Soviets here. Let's have a look. They've not spotted them, but they had, that was a 6, so they have hit 3 there, so they're saving on a 3 or above. They've failed 1, so that is 1 shock. Let's see if that MMG is that hit. Let's have a look. No, it's 1 or 2, yes it is, so that's an MMG off as well, so that's reduced their firepower at least. And then we've got the other ones over here firing with 3 dice instead of 4 because of that shock, but they have spotted and they've hit all of them. They would have got a reroll because they've got an MMG. That's 3 hits. Soviets saving on a 4 up. They've saved all 3 of them. They are going to return fire at the Germans here in front of them, the ones with the shock on them. So they're only rolling 3 dice. They're going to use up their final order for the turn. Let's have a look. Not spotted and nothing, and they've just lost that MMG, so they can't get any re-rolls. Okay, the Soviets have once again taken the initiative, and they've piled the T-34 and the T-70 around into the flanks of the 2 Stug assault guns. So we're going to start and shoot those up. So first of all, they've moved, so it's but they are at close range, so that blanks it out. So basically they're hitting on a 7 up. So we're going to try with, first of all, with the T-70 against the Stug. Look, that's a 9, that is a hit. The Stug has an armour of 4 on its side, but the T-70 has a gun of 4 as well, so that's going to basically be just a straight roll for the Stug. Let's see if they survived this. A 10, yes they've survived, so it bounces off. However, we've now got the T-34, that is also firing. Let's have a look. 4, no, that's a miss. Unfortunately for the Stugs, they are out of their line of sight, so they can't return fire at them. And now it's the time of the Soviet 45 to fire, and that's going to fire into the side of that Stug. So let's have a look, we'll see if it hits. First of all, 5, no, it's missed, unfortunately for them. Then we've got more anti-tank fire coming from this group here, because they've got an anti-tank rifle at the Stug, so let's have a look. They need a 7 up to hit. That's a 7, that is a hit. It's 2 for 2, 2 armour on that thing and 2 strike value, so it's just a straight dice, straight roll should I say. So that's an 8. I think that might just be 1 shock. Yes, it's 1 shock on them, so at least it's starting to do something. Almost finally for the Soviets, they're going to try to get these. These are moved up into the ruins. They're going to fire across of these. So are these ones here who lost their MG. So we'll start with these first of all. They haven't moved, so they're just rolling 3 dice and a spotting dice. No re-rolls, no spots, but 2 hits on those Germans, who are now saving on a 3 or above. They're both saved. And then we've got the other ones, because they moved, they're down to 2 dice. So let's roll those. All misses, no hits at all. Okay, I've got a bit of a complicated German turn here. So we've got, these have reduced shock, and then they're going to fire these ones over here. So let's just get that out of the way anyway, because they've got their medium machine guns. So they're starting with 6, they haven't moved. They are firing into buildings though, so that's going to reduce it by 2, and then also they are spotting as well. So let's just have a look. We've got no spots, 3 hits, 1 re-roll. That's a miss. 3 hits on those Soviets in here. Let's see what happens. They have saved 1, failed 2, so that's suppressed them. And then they are going to take fire as well from the Germans over here in this building. They are firing the same. So, but this time they don't have an MMG. So let's see, they have spotted, and that's 3 hits. So saves again. Let's have a look. So they've saved all of those. So we've not managed to do anything to them. Now we're going to the tank battle. So we've got the Panzer IV Long with the, it's not the Aus J, it is, let me tell you what it is, it's the Panzer IV G. So this has got a long 75mm gun on it, and this is firing out the dug-in T-34. Panzer IV G has a AP of 9 against the T-34's armour of 7. However, it's moved and it's firing against something dug in, so it's firing on a -2, so it needs a 9 up to hit. Let's look. No, it's missed. Right, the Soviets are going to use their last order, I must put it away somewhere, to activate that to return fire. It is firing at -1 though, so it needs an 8 up to hit. because he might not survive the other hits. Well, actually there are no other hits, but it has hit it, and it has an armour, an AP of 7 against the armour on that Panzer IV-G of 8. So that's a +1 for the Germans on their save roll. Let's have a look. So they've got a 6, a 7 on their save is actually 2 shock because they are spotted. So that's done quite good for them. This T-34 has really held the bloody field, hasn't it? Right, anyway, over here we've also got our Panzer IV Aus K. This has an anti-tank of 9. This is firing right up the spout of this T-34 here. It is close, but it has moved, so that's a -1 but a +1, so that means we're hitting on a 7. So we'll start with that first of all. 5, that's a miss. And then we've also got the other Panzer IV-G as well. Sorry, the F, which has a smaller gun, but it's still the same to hit. So we're hitting on a 7-0. Oh, look, that is a hit this time. This time the HE is 5 against the rear of the T-34, which is 5. So it's a straight roll, straight save roll for that T-34. Let's have a look. Oh, a 3, that's hit it, that's pranged it, so that has knocked that out. That is another kill for the Soviets. And then finally we got these Stugs here, so we're firing with this Stug first of all, the smaller of the 2 Stugs. So it's hitting on 4, 5, 6s against these infantry in the open there. It's caused 3 hits on them, so 3 saves. They're saving on a 4-up. That is 3 kills. They're already on 2, so that's taken them to shock, and that is another KIA, so that's another Soviet casualty. And then they are also firing as well with the SIG-33. So once again, at the last one, let's just see it, they're really mashing these up. So they've hit 1, 2, 3, 4 hits. So that's 4 saves for those Soviets. Let's have a look, see what they get. And all failed. So that's another KIA as well. So that has just cost them 3 of their units. So let me just work that out. So the Soviets are on 7 at the moment. 1 more and that will be their second FUBAR. Then the final bit of firing for this turn is the Germans over here firing at the Soviets there. They're already on 2 shock, so let's just see what happens. They are obscured, so I'm going to the spotting dice. They haven't spotted, but they have landed 5 hits on those Soviets. So they are defending on a 3-up. So let's have a look. They failed 2 of those, so they are now suppressed and a KIA roll. Okay, so I've just tried to rally the Soviets up by the big old building, but they failed every single roll and they ran away. So they're not dispersed, but they are running at the moment. However, we're going to do a lot of anti-tank fire against these Stugs. So I've got the AT, the 45mm AT gun here, AT rifle here. Then we're also firing with the T-70 as well at the Stugs, and then also I'm going to be firing with this with the T-34 against that Panzer IV there as well. So a lot of anti-tank fire here. We've these guys here, all I've done is get their morale off, so they're no longer suppressed at least. So let's just work our way through. So we're starting with the 45mm. It has an AT of 4 against the side armour of the Stug 33 is 2, but it needs a 7 or above to hit first of all. Let's have a look. 4, so that's a miss. Then we've got the AT rifle firing at the same target. That's a miss as well. Then we've got the other AT rifle firing at the same target. This time it's a hit. It's a straight defence dice for the Germans. Save roll, should I say. A 4. How? That is a smack dang. That's gone. That's another one gone. So that's brewed up. Then we got the T-70, which is firing against the side of that Stug. It's got a 4. The T-70 has an arm of an AT of 4. So we need to hit first of all on a 7, but it comes a 6 because it's so close range. 6, that's just a hit. So it's 4 against 4, so there's no difference in the there's no minuses or anything. What have we got? A 7 on that, I think, is a shock. spotted, no, that's 2 shock on that Stug. So they've lost a Stug and now they've got 1 shocked. And then finally we've got the T-34, which is going to fire against this Panzer IV. I'll just check the Panzer IV's armour. It has an armour of 8, T-34 has a gun of 7, so it's going to be a -1 on the hit. But let's just see, it needs to hit first of all, and it hits on a 7 up, 8 up, sorry, because it's damaged. However, that hasn't done anything. The Panzer can't fire back because he's not within short range, and it is damaged, or it's got 2 shock anyway. So that's another section lost for the Germans. 3 more and then it's their game over, but let's just see what they do in their turn. Okay, I'm not sure if you can see here, but the German platoon has attacked that gun section there, so it's basically close assault. I think the Germans are probably going to win this one. Let's see, but they have taken a hit. The Germans, of course, 3 hits on that, so that has immediately suppressed that gun. They have also taken 1 shock themselves, so I think they've won. Yeah, so they've destroyed the gun because he can't retreat from close combat, so that is another section. So that's their second FUBAR for the Soviets now. Unfortunately for them. God, this could go anyway, couldn't it really, at this point? Let me just put that over there and get rid of that gun. It means that the Germans then take the position and are also able to rally as well. So let's just see, 1d6 rally, a 3, no they don't get it, they still take that shock. And then we are back over here in this hellscape of firing and fighting. The Stug tried to rally off shock. It only went for 1 rally. It could only rally, or it could fire or shoot, so it failed its rally, so it's basically just reduced 1 shock, so it's down to 1. Same with the Panzer G as well, the Panzer IV-G, that has done the same. However, we've still got these two. We've also got these infantry as well, are going to be firing at the infantry over here, so I think we'll do that first of all. So the first ones are firing with 4d6 and a spotting dice. So although they haven't spotted them, but they have landed 4 hits on those Soviets in this building. Just work that out. They've failed 2 of them, so that is them down with 2 shock. And then we've got the other ones over here, they are firing the same. And let's have a look. We've got 2 hits and spotted, so they are now saving on a 4 up this time. So 1 fail, so that has suppressed them. Now if only, well, they could spend some a commander order here and charge in. So let me just do some more firing with the tanks first, and then they might actually charge in and hopefully try and finish that section off now that they are suppressed. But first of all, let's do the firing. So we're firing first of all with the Panzer IV. That is the Panzer IV-F. That is going to be firing at the T-70. T-70 in the rear only has armour of 3 for it, unfortunately. However, the Panzer IV-F has got an AT of 6. So see if we can hit it first of all. Close range, +1, 6 up. That's a hit. So basically we said we've got an armour of 3, an AT of 6, so that's a -3 on the 2d6. That is still 11. -3 comes down to 8. I think that's 2 shock. Let me just check that 100%, but I think it is 2 shock on that. Got to find it first of all. Yes, 8. No, 8 is 1 shock. Oh no, we said, hang on, it's 11 -3, yes, is 8. So that's just 1 shock on that tank, so they didn't get to knock it out. We do have the Panzer IV-K as well, that's Panzer III-K, sorry, Alf's K, so that's got an AT of 9. Now then, do we go for that T-34 or do we take out that T-70? Which would it be? Which is best? Which is best? There's more chance of hitting the T-70, I think, so 6 up. Yes, that's a hit. This time its AT is 9 against an armour of 3, so this is a -6. I think if it survives this, then it's a super tank. 6 and 7, -1, so that is gone as well. So that is another kill. So the Germans actually only need to kill 3 more sections now to win the game. Actually, let me just check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They've lost sections over there. 7 with the AT gun. 8, 9. Yeah, they need 3 more sections and the Germans have won. So what we're going to do is we're going to give a commander's order over here. They've got enough orders for it, so they can use their HQ orders, and they're going to charge into these suppressed units here. So let's have a go with that. So first of all, we need to roll for our commander's orders. So it's going to cost them 1 order anyway, plus how many more? A 2. That's 2 extra orders, so it's going to cost them in total 3 of their HQ orders. That brings them down to 1. So let me just put the commander order on so we know he's done it. They will then fire before they move in, so we'll do the firing first of all. So they are firing 4 dice and a spotting dice. No, they are going to move, so that's 3 dice and a spotting dice. So they haven't spotted them, but they have landed 3 hits on them. Let's see how many hits land. They've saved none of them, so that's a full KIA first of all, plus a KIA roll, 5 or a 6, and another one's gone. No, so they've held on with 2 of them. Now, as they charge across the street, that T-34 is going to try to fire at them, so it needs a 4 up to be able to fire at them as they move, and this is going to cost the Soviets a HQ order, so I'll take that down to 5. The 4 or above. No, they haven't. They're unable to actually do the thing. So they're going to now charge in. I think they're going to make it, but let's just check. 10 inches, yes, that's more than enough to get across that rail track and into the combat. So I'll just put these together here so we know where they are. Then we're rolling 2d6 for each of the sections. So they've got, that's 5d6 because it's -1 for the building, attacking a building. The Soviets are only rolling 2, and again, as before, every hit counts. So the Germans need to get 4 hits here to finish the game. Wow, okay, that is a roll. Right, so the Soviets have hit them once, they've taken 1 hit. Just 1 shock. However, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hits. So that's going to be 5 KIAs, 2 full KIAs and 1 roll. So there's no point rolling. They're off. That's the Soviets killed. They have finished. Let me just double check. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 kills in total. That is the Soviets' 3rd FUBAR and the end of the game. Germans have won against all odds. It thought like that was a real grind. Right, let's have a look at the situation and assess the game. My God, that was nail-biting, wasn't it? That was right down to the wire. I thought the Soviets had that, to be honest. I thought they were going to pull that through because they were inflicting so many casualties on the Germans, especially over here when they destroyed the German section with a platoon in the building. But then the Germans were able to take it back again. The Germans barely got past that forward defence line, though. I mean, they did move forward a couple of units here. They consolidated and shifted up there, and they were trying to push in a little bit. Nothing happened over here, absolutely nothing. No movement whatsoever, a little bit of fighting over there. Perhaps would things have changed if I'd done something over here? I kind of felt that the main thrust of the battle was in this area, and it was where the Germans were really trying to push their way through using that armoured spearhead. You know, they lost, what, 2, 3 vehicles there, with 1 almost knocked out. The Soviets lost 2 of theirs, and that anti-tank gun as well over there, and also a couple of platoons as well here, didn't they? Because they lost the one in the building here, and then also the other one over here. This fella here, you know, even though the Soviets lost, this fella here was the man of the match. I mean, he was there right there from the beginning. He took out. Did he take out those 2 Panzer IIIs? He was certainly tenacious, if nothing else. Proper Soviet tenacity there. You might be wondering why I hardly used any. Well, I didn't use any artillery at all. It's simply because everybody was just too close. You can't fire artillery at something unless if it's within 8 inches of your enemy, and if you can't see it, you can't see it. I had the German foo over here. He eventually made his way to here, so he was going to try to start to drop some artillery on the factory building and smash up with those guys, but just didn't get a chance really. So very little artillery used. This was mostly tanks and infantry, wasn't it? Really enjoyed that, and as I say, that was an interesting fight from the perspective of who was going to win and who wasn't going to win. The Germans were, well, maybe only a couple more off. If they'd lost, that was so tight. Let's just have a quick count up. So we've got 1, 2, 3 lost on the board, but then they also lost 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I think if they'd have lost another 3 sections, they would have lost. So the Soviets really only had to suppress 1 platoon, attack it and destroy it, and that would have been game over for the Germans as well. It got right to but hey, that was a cracking game of O Group. I hope you've enjoyed it. I really enjoyed playing it, even this sweltering summer heat, which is completely at odds with Stalingrad. But there we go. Look out for more O Group videos in future. If you've enjoyed it, if you've watched this and you're not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. If you want to help out the channel, check out my Patreon. You will get early release of all videos, and also you could buy me a one-off tip as well on Ko-fi, and it all goes back into making more and more videos. Anyway, I shall wrap it up there after the adverts, and I shall say thank you again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.